Welcome to the Equipped Disciple channel. My name is Rick McClatchy. I will be your host. We are here to be and to make disciples of Jesus, and we do that through daily devos, through Sunday sermons, and through other discipleship resources. We are here to equip you to be an equipped disciple. Welcome into another day of your daily devos. I'm Pastor Rick. And you'd be surprised how quickly doing these daily devos ages you. It's like going through a time warp. No, I may or may not have been involved in a little activity where I dressed up as a certain person, and I was just trying to look the part. Okay, so that's that, and you're gonna try to listen to the devos today without being distracted. Okay. So anyways, here we go. We are finishing up Genesis chapter 9 today. We're going to talk about Noah and his vineyard. All right. So like and comment, subscribe, especially today. Kind of unique. You could be like, you got to check this guy out. He's kind of crazy. But he's got good hair. I'm just saying, whatever. So here we go. Genesis chapter 9, verses 18 through 29. Jumping into verse 18, Noah's sons who came out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan, and that is, yes, who the land of Canaan was named after. So we're seeing, kind of the Genesis story here. It's kind of exciting to see how things, got all the names that they got, right? And so these three were Noah's sons. From them, the whole earth was populated. Noah, as a man of the soil, began by planting a vineyard. And he drank some of the wine and became drunk and uncovered himself inside his tent. So a little bit of drama going on here. Interestingly, there is in Bible study a principle called the first mention principle. So anytime something is mentioned for the first time, it carries a little bit of heavier weight in telling you something about that thing. And so because this is the first mention of alcohol in the Bible, and the mention carries a fairly strong negative connotation on it, it's something to pay attention to. Now, I think it's pretty clear you can't make a case in Scripture that drinking alcohol is a sin. The Bible's pretty darn clear about drunkenness, and we're going to see here that this alcohol drinking led to drunkenness in this particular case, and it resulted in some negative outcomes. Okay, so just something to pay attention to, something to take note of as you make the decisions in your life in how you're going to handle yourself. Again, drinking alcohol, not a sin. But maybe you have a tendency to drink too much or whatever, and maybe it would be wiser to put it down and to not pick it up again. So just that. Next thing is just talking about intense times versus peaceful times. I mean, think about Noah and what his story was. He literally preached the gospel while building an ark for 100 years. He cried out to people and said, "Hey, the flood is coming." After about 85 years, they're probably like, "Bro, there's no flood coming. You've been talking about this for 85 years. No, but I mean, that might have been the case. There might be some truth to that. You could see how it could be true. I mean, somebody's talking about something for 85 years and it still hasn't happened. But man, 15 years later, you'd be feeling kind of sorry. I mean, you wouldn't feel sorry for very long, but anyways, intense times. He was in the middle of intense times. He had literally 100 years of hard labor building this boat. I don't know how long it took him to build the ark. I don't know how long he had it completed before God told him to go inside the ark and bring the animals in and all that. But he gets off the ark, makes an altar to the Lord, worships the Lord, and now we have a season of basically peace. It looks like he probably went on and had a few more kids after the fact, and then Shem, Ham, and Japheth, begin to produce, be fruitful and multiply, if you will, and begin to populate the earth. And so in these peaceful times, he gets a little lax, he gets a little comfortable, he gets a little unguarded. And I think that that's a really important lesson for us to take note of, is that the intense times are not the only times that you need to be paying attention. The intense times are not the only times that you need to be paying attention. That even when things ease up and it's starting to feel a little more relaxed and like, okay, I got this, no problem. That's probably the time where you need to be a little extra guarded, a little extra careful. Because those are the times where sin and temptation can creep in like a crazy little bandit and take advantage of a time where you had your guard down because things seemed so good and so easy. And that's a little bit what happened here with Noah. Is things were good, things were peaceful, and he was just enjoying himself. He's just enjoying the fruit of the land, if you will. So what happened? Ham, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, so it looks like the middle son, Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father naked and told his two brothers outside. So in their culture, honor and shame are a big, big deal. So bringing shame on his dad by, one, seeing his nakedness, but then secondarily going and telling his brothers about it. That would have been like really, really escalating the whole shame factor with his dad. Like once his dad wakes up from this, like what you told everybody, like why you literally told the whole world because it's just them. You see what I did there? Like you literally told the whole world. But Shem and Japheth, they did not respond the same way. They took a cloak and placed it over both their shoulders, and walking backward, they covered their father's nakedness, and their faces were turned away, and they did not see their father naked. So they guarded their dad's honor. They guarded his honor. They didn't expose him. They didn't make fun. They didn't, laugh and join in with Ham and the whole, spectacle of the moment. When Noah awoke from his drinking and learned what his youngest son had done to him. But first, before we go there, again, they honor and shame, and then telling others and spreading the shame, just like increasing or magnifying the shame. So like Ham really hammed it up there, And so Noah comes out and he says, Canaan is cursed. He will be the lowest of slaves to his brothers. He also said, blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem. Let Canaan be Shem's slave. Let God extend Japheth. Let Japheth dwell in the tents of Shem. Let Canaan be Shem's slave. Now, Noah lived 350 years after the flood. So Noah's life lasted 950 years and then he died. Pretty long, full life, right? And man, 350 years after the flood, like he saw multiple generations of people come about after they got off the ark. But interestingly, he goes in and he's talking about Canaan. But I thought Ham was the one that that treated him wrong, that shamed him, right? Right? It says Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father naked and told his two brothers outside. So why in the world are we coming after Canaan? Canaan, like what did Canaan ever do to you? And so why does Canaan get thrashed with this crazy prophetic word over him about how the family is going to be when his dad is the one that did it? Well, you cannot control the blast radius of your sin. When you get busted for sin, when you get caught in the trap, you cannot control how far the damage radius of that sin goes. And it is a stinking tactic of the enemy that before you sin, the enemy is quick to convince you that, oh, don't worry, it's only you. It's just you. It's not going to hurt anybody. And so you step into whatever the deception, the immorality, the whatever the thing might be. And you're convinced that one, it's not a big deal, and two, it's not going to hurt anybody, just myself, just me. And then when everything gets exposed, there's so many layers of hurt and pain, and to some degree, sometimes like death, right? Like death in relationships, death in all different kinds of ways. And so it's lies, right? That it's not that big of a deal, and it's only about you. Those are classic lies that the enemy tells us so that we will lower our guard and we will, step into the activity that we're being tempted by. But you cannot control the blast radius of your sin. When it explodes, when it blows up in your face, you can't control how big of a blast it is and how many people it's going to affect. So flee from sin, right? Flee from sin. Stay away from it. If you have a negative, if you have a tendency, if you have a temptation, if you have a weakness, guard it. And guard it whether life is being hard and challenging, or guard it even when times are good. When you feel like, oh man, I am on top of the world, I got this dialed in, be on guard. Be on guard. Be vigilant, lest you fall. So there you have it, folks. First mention of alcohol in the Bible is kind of a negative one. Again, it's not sin necessarily, but something that should be handled with wisdom. Talking about intense times and peaceful times, and how we are naturally on guard during intense times, but often we lower our guard and we get a little sloppy when it comes to peaceful times. Noticing the impact of shame, and how that shame that he kind of heaped on his dad and then wanted to tell others about it to multiply that shame. How it came back to bite his son, right? So came back to bite him. Because you cannot control the blast radius of your sin. And don't believe the lie that it's not that big of a deal and that it's only going to affect yourself. Don't fall into those lies. So I hope you are more equipped, more strengthened, and just a little bit encouraged. Have a great day. God bless you. I will see you tomorrow.